Here we go again. Tyreek Hill back at it on social media, this time ranking his top five quarterbacks and leaving Tua Tagovailoa out of his top five. You might say, well, he's not wrong, Smitty, but this is one of those things where your player always puts you as the quarterback in their top five. And just so anybody isn't confused, Tyreek Hill last year, when asked this question, put Tua in his top five. Tyreek left Tua out when asked on social media to rank his top five quarterbacks. A notorious troll, yeah, but this is also just adding more fuel to the fire that he wants out of Miami. Leaving out Tua, but ranking Lamar, Mahomes, Allen, Baker Mayfield, who made it both years, might I add, and Joseph Cigar Smoking Burrow. Leaving Tua out. Unlike last year, he's always made it very clear. This isn't a debate whether Tua is a top five quarterback. Just stop in the comments. Kyle5143 on YouTube. No one's trying to suggest that. So back off and delete what you're trying to type right now. No one's saying that. The point here is that Tyreek Hill, who's been adamant that Tua is the most accurate quarterback in the entire league, when he went away from the KC Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes in that cushy little environment, he'd said, Tua's more accurate than Mahomes. Tua's a top five quarterback. Last year, Tua's a top five quarterback. This year, he's not talking about Tua Tagovailoa at all. That's the point, Steve. Okay? And we're going to talk about that. Also, some sleepers. Croskey-Merritt is a guy you need to make sure you're all over in terms of deep sleeper players to grab. There's a lot we're going to talk about Croskey-Merritt and the Washington Commanders rushing attack and what is probably in store for him and why we're even bringing him up. He probably should have been on yesterday's show when I was tossing out gems, and I completely missed putting him on the list. But Croskey-Merritt must be on your sleeper list for rookie prospects. We're going to go through all that and more. The Fantasy Football Show begins now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Here we are. Appreciate everybody filing in. We got Buckeye, we got Runner, Thomas, Lupo, Millionaire, King's in the house, Bruce in the building, Travis Rowe, the moderators. What's up, everybody? Tanner in the building. File on in, hit that like button on the way in the door, and let's talk a little bit. Let's first talk Tyreek Hill before we get into Croskey-Merritt and other, sleeper players. But again, for anybody that's just joining us, no one's trying to debate that Tua is a top 10 quarterback. Okay, we're not. What do we look like? Morons? What do I look like? A complete imbecile? But the point is, this man Tyreek Hill has said over and over that Tua is such a great quarterback. He's top five. He's the most accurate quarterback in the league. Last year, ranked him in his top five. Obviously, said he's better than Patrick Mahomes on some levels when he went to Miami. Not anymore. That's the news. It doesn't matter what he ranks. It matters what he says. It matters if he's going to bat for him, even if he doesn't believe it. We know he doesn't think Tua is a top five quarterback, but he's been saying it, and now he's not. Now he's leaving him off his little rankings list. These are the potential landing spots he wants to go to. Throws Mahomes in there. Throws Lamar in there. Kind of weird that all these look like contenders. Kind of weird he doesn't understand that Tampa Bay is not the place to go. This is where players don't know what is a good location and what is not a good location. Tyreek, you don't want to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're crowded. They're full. Their table is full. They got a table for 3. They have a table for 4 already filled. You wouldn't be able to. What are they going to do with you over in Tampa Bay? So he is strategically throwing out quarterbacks that he wants to play with. He wants to play with Burrow. You're not going to be a crowded room over there too. Lamar, that'd be a good spot for him. I don't know that he would thrive and become a top 12 wide receiver because Lamar can't even make a top 15 wide receiver. Never has made a top 15 wide receiver. That's why Zay Flowers is one of the most overrated players, not because of his talent, but because of his situation in fantasy, period. Mahomes, they could, they got the best. They got a top 5 to 6 wide receiver room in the NFL, the Chiefs. But because of his familiar, role there, just knowing Andy Reid, knowing the Chiefs, knowing Mahomes, knowing the system, it would be an interesting fit. But Josh Allen could use him for sure. I don't know why Josh Allen isn't getting fed a quarterback, an elite passer. I know we all love Keon Coleman, and I continue to support him, and I'm hopeful, but I do know that the Bills are not capable as of this moment in investing in an elite talent. It would be nice to see a guy like Tyreek Hill, who might have a little bit left in the tank. Maybe not. I don't think he does in Miami because it's just not a conducive situation for him. We've already seen why. And I think if you got Tyreek Hill into a Buffalo Bills situation, maybe it would be different for one more year. Maybe we could squeeze a little bit extra, out of this kid. But Baker, Burrow, Mahomes, those are not good landing spots. This is his strategic play to try and get traded to one of these teams. Do I think a trade ends up happening? That's more of the topic of debate here, right? Do I believe that this is going to be a situation where Tyreek Hill finds his way out of Miami entering the 2025 season? And remember, he could get traded like in the middle of the year too, or week 3 or week 2 or whatever. Doesn't have to happen right away. I think that it's honestly 50-50. I don't know that there's a real strong answer here because it matters what other teams are wanting to pay, give up, etc. And at some point, it's a scale. Like, do the Dolphins say it's better just to keep him than to get this garbage pick? And if teams are like, he's old, he could have something left in the tank, but based on what we saw last year, he doesn't. So is it worth giving up anything? At some point, the Dolphins are going to go, it's not worth it, Tyreek. If we can get a second rounder or something, which they're probably not going to get at his age, and given he's already said he's going to retire, right now, essentially, is what he's predicted in the past. And now he wants to play longer. All players do want to play longer than they think. And retirement is hard. Look at Aaron Rodgers. He can't even announce whether he's coming back or not. but Tyreek Hill, I don't know that the reason is 50-50. I think they want him gone. I think they do. I think they're tired of his antics. But they want to get value, or they're not going to just hand Tyreek Hill over to the Kansas City Chiefs, to the Baltimore Ravens, to the Buffalo Bills. They're just not going to be like, here is Tyreek Hill. We'll take your 5th round pick. Oh, well. They're not going to do that. They're going to hold on to him in hopes that they get more later, if anything else. That is the hang up here. That is the complexity of this situation. It's not about whether the Dolphins want to move him. It's not about whether Tyreek wants out. It's not about whether Tyreek's going to continue to make a mess of this situation and a mockery. He's a locker room, distraction. They want to look to maybe move him and get something, but they're not going to do it for nothing. So it really depends on the dance partners. Who wants to dance with Tyreek Hill for a year? Who wants to rent a player for 1 year? And he's probably going to want an extra little extension if he goes somewhere. I don't even know if a team would do it. Maybe they will. It could be like a conversion more so than anything. It would be a new contract that puts a lot of money up front that actually helps the team out financially and just looks like he's getting a big raise, which he really, won't get too much of. That's the way these things usually work. So Tyreek Hill, more to come on Tyreek. I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. I think it's 50-50. I'd be lying if I said I had some sort of inside information on it, because no one does. No one does. And just to get this out of the way, Justin Tucker released by the Ravens, and that was expected at this point with all the allegations coming downstream with him. The Ravens made a football decision, a decision that needed to be done, I think, right now anyway. Croskey-Merritt, love this kid. Why do we love him? Well, number one, he's a very good prospect. Very, very good prospect. Very, very skilled, very quick, very agile, good contact balance, good burst through the hole. Big time yardage getter and touchdown getter at the college level. Didn't play much at all last year due to the injury, so it's not like this is an easy situation to look at. Let me pull up Merritt's game log and show you exactly what this kid's capable of. So it's a really impressive career stat box score. It really is, because this kid had 17, total touchdowns. Receiving, he had 23, he had 1. Okay, so he didn't catch a lot of balls in 2023. Did a decent amount of catching the previous year, 13 for 167, 12.8 a catch, but his rushing abilities are what you need to look at here. So let me put that on screen. Played a lot of years. He's not a spring chicken exactly. I believe he's 24 years old. So this is similar to the Harvey situation. 24 years old, a lot of seasons played, but injury obviously set him back in 2024, but didn't really matter. 180 carries, 1190, and 17 touchdowns at UNM. So very, very solid player. Transferred, obviously didn't have success beforehand, 4 years, and comes in and has a remarkable 2023 season. Now, this is a tough play because in Dynasty, he's 24. It's a tough play because he is a seventh rounder? I think it was seventh. Let's see here. 7th round, pick 245. So the draft capital is very low. The concerns about how long it took him to even get going, the fact that, he didn't even play football last year, essentially, this is a very, very risky proposition. But when you look at the Washington Commanders roster, they have nothing. It really is going to be potentially the Croskey-Merritt show at some point. And this news right here is what kind of triggered me to even bring this up today. And I should have put him on the list yesterday, like I said, when we went through deep sleepers. But this news right here that Brian Robinson, according to The Athletic, they believe that Brian Robinson could be a possible or surprising trade candidate this offseason. So the offseason's nearly, coming to a close as we approach June and July, in a sense. So we'll see what happens. But Brian Robinson Jr., would it be impossible to see him traded to a team that's looking for depth? Would the Chicago Bears have interest in Brian Robinson Jr.? Would a couple other teams have interest? Teams like the Buffalo Bills that have a potential hold-in or hold-out with James Cook. A lot of teams could be interested if the price was right. And if they kind of aren't sold on him, which is what this report seems to indicate is the thinking, and I do kind of agree, I don't think they're sold on him as their long-term option. I think he's kind of a sneaky play in the early part of the season, but I think at some point Croskey-Merritt will get injected into the lineup, and we'll see what he's made of. Keep one thing in mind when it comes to Croskey-Merritt. You have a GM in football over on the Washington Commanders side of this thing that knows the damn scouting situation like no other. This guy is a absolute connoisseur of elite talent late in a draft. He picked Brock Purdy. He helped pick Brock Purdy in San Francisco before he left San Francisco to come over to Washington and draft JD5. He was responsible for identifying George Kittle. He had a lot to do with all of the big gems and sleepers and breakouts on the defense too. This is a scouting machine in Adam Peters. It's what led him to Washington because he's had such great success in San Francisco, comes over to Washington, and immediately turns this franchise around. Obviously added some good coaching, obviously a good offensive coordinator in Cliff Kingsbury, and then the drafting and belief in JD5 that he was the number one QB. Like we said he was, even though people absolutely missed the boat, called Caleb Williams the next Patrick Mahomes.
Let him cook.
So, anyway, whether this report is true or not, or has any sort of merit, it's to be determined. Again, The Athletic throws a lot of stuff at the wall. I'm not saying they don't have some sort of source on this thing, but it tends to be, just a lot of rumors being kicked around this time of year, even after smoke season, which is, before the NFL draft takes place. There's still little remnants of smoke, little dust clearing and settling as people try and come in and just make a prediction. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, this is just somebody to monitor. I don't even know that you would draft him in any sort of redraft league. It's more of like a monitor this situation. If he does get traded, you hop on the Croskey-Merritt train as quickly as you can. In Deep Dynasty, if you can put him on a practice squad, that makes some sense. I don't know that he's even worth grabbing yet in a situation where you don't have practice squad players. It's a Dynasty league where you have, 10 or 12 bench spots and you can use them for anything. You might not even be able to hold Croskey-Merritt. And keep in mind about this one thing. If you are going to, and this is a team that could still trade for Kenneth Walker. This is a team that could still trade for one of those running backs that we kind of think could be on the move or has the potential to be on the move. James Cook wants more money, but I don't think the Commanders are that type of team. Adam Peters builds from the draft more than anything, and they made a surprisingly bold trade for Deebo Samuel already. So there's not any sort of potential trade probably in the works. I think Walker would be one person that comes to mind, though. That would be an amazing move. Walker in Washington would be great. But again, let me just put this out here one more time and just say that Croskey-Merritt, this is one of those things you're going to wait on. You're not going to grab him in a redraft league. It's something that could develop over time, and you'll have enough time, I think, to react. But it does feel like there's some movement here for Croskey-Merritt's value with this kind of rumor and even the suggestion at all that they're not completely sold on Brian Robinson Jr. for the future. And I've heard this a couple times now, but again, it could be just people speculating off the initial speculation. You just don't really know because no one's going to list their source anymore. So we're just here to read the NBC, and this is from NBC Sports. It's not like I'm reading some random Twitter account that has 5 followers. It is coming from CBS Sports, which is coming from The Athletic, both big name sources that sometimes get things very wrong, as a lot of sources do. And we're just here to kind of talk about it. He's a sleeper for a reason. He's a guy that no one sees coming, and he doesn't have any sort of guarantee to emerge. And even a J.K. Dobbins could end up in Washington. A player like that that's still out there and available. Nick Chubb could end up in Washington. If Nick Chubb goes to Washington, then boom. That's, and I'm not even like the biggest Nick Chubb fan, but he's somebody to monitor immediately because he looks really good in the offseason. I got to admit, I don't think he stays healthy, but it's tough not to see the allure initially if Nick Chubb is in Washington, they bring him in. Or if J.K. Dobbins, he probably won't stay healthy either, they bring him in. It's hard not to see the allure, even if it's for a short period of time. So keep an eye on J.K. Dobbins. Keep an eye on Nick Chubb. Keep an eye on Brian Robinson. Also, one thing I'd like to add is that it's really hard to imagine a team trading for Brian Robinson Jr. in my mind. Again, there's some scenarios I could see it happening. We're like, oh yeah, it's kind of surprising, but at the same time, it's not. But for me, I don't know that I can just envision somebody going, go get Brian Robinson Jr. and do it now. There's so many rookies that just got drafted, but what if someone didn't get the right rookie? What if Ben Johnson's really didn't fall the way we wanted? I think I want to go grab this kid. Let's do it live. It's certainly possible. Let's keep an eye on it. So Croskey-Merritt, Brian Robinson Jr., 2 players to just monitor for that situation over in Washington. We talked a lot about Scat yesterday, but I think Scat needs to be talked about again and again and again and again, and we're going to beat a dead horse on this, so get ready, buckle up. I hope you're tired of it because you're going to get more Scataboo talk than you can handle. In fact, let's hit him with the Scat video, shall we?
What is that smell? Someone needs me.
Help! Help! I'm going to lose my fantasy week! Somebody help! Call the Scat Man!
I am Scatman.
Who needs my help?
Wow. Bang, bang, boom. To the moon. Now it's time to go pick up your mother.
A couple different variations of the Scat video. One's really long. It's a music video. That one's shorter. It's a little easier to press. And then at any moment, if I feel a little frisky, I transform into the Scat Man. And if you want advice from the Scat Man for $20, drop a $20 holler and request my services. Thank you. Anytime you want it. Scataboo is gonna ball. Scataboo's in New York. Scataboo is in a situation where he's going to rise to the top. The value's on the rise. There's no question in my mind that this is a kid that can win leagues in Dynasty, Rookie only drafts 2.1 to 2.5. You get him in round 2 like clockwork. This could win a league in rookie settings. This could help rebuild your running back room in rookie settings. And in redraft, he's going at running back 4-5 territory. He's going in like the 9-10 round territory, depending on where you're drafting at. With grandmas, he'll go in double-digit rounds, 10, 11. No one even knows he's coming. And everybody, even if they do like him, there's so many negative Nancys and negative Noahs on this topic, it's going to hold his value down. It's going to hold his value down a ton. Abe says, sacrificing my mom for the week. He's considering it. Abe is considering it. He needs Scat's help, so he may make some sort of trade. I guess my only concern at all, my only concern is that they like Tracy a little bit more earlier on than we think. They're gonna say, Scat, learn the system, and they ease him in a lot slower than we think. So for those of us, this is the only break pumping I'm gonna suggest here. You're drafting him at 8, 9, 10 in best ball, 9, 10, 11 in non-best ball with your home leagues and grandma leagues and work leagues and water cooler leagues. Just understand that is where you're taking him. Understand he's not being drafted into your starting lineup. You're drafting him from a bench perspective and a hidden gem, rags to riches, waiting for him to rise up like a phoenix and destroy everybody, even though this man, comes from Tempe. He's going to rise up like a phoenix and destroy everyone around him. This is a guy that, I probably lived down the street from until he just got drafted to the New York Giants. Probably seen him on the road. Probably ran into him on the running path as he's tearing up, running like a beast. This guy's a machine. And the only break pumping I'm doing is that it may not be right away. It's possible we all go drafting him just like Chase Brown. Remember my Chase Brown prediction. How stupid did I look at weeks 1, 2, 3? Chase Brown? I was having everybody and their mother yelling Chase Brown, over and over and over. I looked like a moron. After 1 week, after 2 weeks, after 3 weeks. I admit I started to get a little worried that maybe my Chase Brown campaign was going to backfire on me. But once Chase Brown got into his groove, he was a baller. And he grew a little taller, and he was smashing fantasy points for you on a weekly basis, and honestly was a top 5 running back the second half of the season, easily. So just understand that there's that kind of potential slow rolling him out scenario here with Scataboo. Not guaranteed he could win the job in the preseason. I'm not saying he can't, but this could be Chase Brown 2.0. This is a better call for the next Chase Brown, even though they run different. It's the next Chase Brown because of the potential slower than expected unleashing. But love this kid. Can't wait for all of you to rejoice with me in drafting him at a value, drafting him as a bench running back because we can and we will. And then if it doesn't work out, we don't lose a league over it. If it doesn't work out, we cut the man. But it will work out. Fernando, $5 hauler. Appreciate you, my guy. I was offered Waddle, Penix Jr., a 2.6, a 3.6 for my Puka. Do I reject it? My QB is Bryce Young. Also, who do I take in the draft? Henderson, Harvey, or Judkins? I lean a little bit Harvey for the now, and I have Hendy just exactly tied with him. You know how you got to tie two players together in a ranking, but one's got to sit above the other? Hendy is going to sit above Harvey in Dynasty because he's younger. He's 2 years younger. Harvey's 24 years old, but I'm not scared about that. It doesn't make me want to run from it on any level. It's just Harvey and Hendy are tied, and I got to put someone, ahead in that pecking order. So I'm going to say Hendy, then Harvey, and then Judkins, and that's Dynasty redraft. I don't have Judkins above Hendy or Harvey, period, in any format. And as for this, you said my QB is Bryce Young. I don't see Superflex in here. If you don't say Superflex, you got. I'm assuming it's not Superflex. People that like ask me a question and it's Superflex and they just assume I think it. Like I don't know. You got to tell me. I'm going to assume it's not because you didn't say. You said my QB. You didn't say my QBs are. My QB's Bryce Young. This is an awful offer. These are rookie picks, and you're going to give up the 2.6, or you're going to get the 2.6 rookie pick. Who cares? I mean, that could be Scataboo. Could be, could be Scataboo. He could fall, but I'm not. I can't guarantee that. And he goes 2.1 to 2.5 ish. But it doesn't matter. I still wouldn't do it. You got Puka Nacua can get you more. The bottom line, Fernando, is you can get a ton more if you want to make a trade. This is one of the worst trades I've seen.
You are offer sex. You are trade offer sex.
Horrible trade. Horrible trade. Even if this was Superflex, I would say no. It'd be closer. It'd be a lot closer because Penix Jr. is a good quarterback. But, bro, Bryce Young, I mean, go get Dak. Go get Mahomes. Give up a future first rounder to get Mahomes. I'd do that. But this is a horrible trade. Someone's trying to dress up a second and third rounder, put lipstick on it, and tell you they're great picks, bro, and they're deserving of this move. I tell second and third rounders to kick rocks, bro. In fact,
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
You're not disapproved, but that damn trade is disapproved. Absolutely. Just came in and clicked the like button. Thank you, Juan. Appreciate you. So we got Croskey-Merritt. We got Scataboo. Projections for Scataboo. Late start, but still at least a 900, 1,000 yard rusher. 250, 350 receiving. 8 total touchdowns to 10. I think he could be a 10 total touchdown guy. So 8 to 10. 10 total touchdowns, even being slow rolled out in weeks 4, 5, 6, and then becomes a monster in 6 or 7. Because keep in mind, our best example of a slow roll into week 6, 7 is Jahmyr Gibbs. Look at Jahmyr Gibbs, this bottom one, 36, running back 20, running back 25, running back 25, not used, or he didn't play, and then look at Jahmyr Gibbs go, boom, 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 boom. And keep in mind, he had one of the most phenomenal rookie years we've seen in a while, but slow roll style. And he didn't have 1,000 yards rushing. So it might sound like, oh, Smitty, Scataboo, you're so high on him, but you're not even giving him 1,000 yards. Well, if you get slow rolled out, 5 yards a carry, and not starting till week number 7, look at Gibbs getting 945. So like 850 to 950 and 10 touchdowns with less receiving production. I mean, that's something that Scat could do as a rookie. You're not saying he's the next Gibbs. I'm just trying to give you an example of somebody starting, after a month of football. So hit that thumb up button. Mistake says 189 people asking for advice and won't hit the like button. We actually have 237 in the building. Your thing needs to be refreshed, but I appreciate you. Look at you looking out for me. Appreciate you, my boy. All right, let's get back to I'm gonna beat a dead horse on Milroe and Scataboo all offseason. So get ready. Milroe, we need a video drop for Milroe. Smitty! Smitty, how do you like Jaylen Milroe? He's such a bust. I've heard it on other channels, Smitty. I've heard it on other channels. People say all the time, Smitty. They say all the time that this guy is a potential next AR5, Smitty. Where is my parrot? We have a new thing on the channel here. It's going to be the parrot. And I believe it is right. Where is the parrot? I've got it right here. When people come in here and they regurgitate what they're hearing.
Hello. Hello.
When they regurgitate what they're hearing on another channel.
He saw it on another channel. He's a repeating Roger.
We're going to hit the parrot video drop. Because we know that someone's been hearing and repeating what they've been doing. And we're just going to drop a parrot emoji in the live chat. Whenever your boy hits this button, when someone's on the phone line repeating, like a repeating Roger, I want you to smash the parrot emoji and we'll just let them know. We won't even say anything. We'll just hit it. We'll listen to them, and we'll be like, good point, pal. Great point. Wonder where you cooked that one up. Because I'll tell you right now, people are doing this over and over. BBQ dropped 50 gifted memberships in the live chat. By the way, if we hit the number, the threshold to add a new emoji, it's going to be Scatman with the Batman mask on. We'll drop the scat emoji. The scat emoji will be next if we hit the right threshold. Yeah, the parrot emoji once repeating Rogers. All right, everybody drop this practice. Everybody drop the parrot emoji now. For all the parrot conversation that we hear, all the chitter chatter about how Milroe's the next AR5. I heard from a Mickey Mouse fantasy channel, Smitty, that Milroe's the next AR5. It's not accurate. Didn't you watch him play? Didn't you watch him play, Smitty? He's not that good. He's not that good, Smitty. His 20 touchdowns rushing. 20. Where's my graphic when I need it? I think it is somewhere along these lines. Is this it? That's not it. Where's my Milroe now? I'll find it. But 20 touchdowns rushing last year alone. 20 rushing, I believe 12 the year prior. 12 rushing touchdowns the year prior. He's no stranger to rushing touchdowns. 20 rushing touchdowns in 2024 alone. 700 rushing yards in 2024 alone. This is a marvel. This is a master of running the football. And that doesn't mean that he's a bad quarterback. I don't know why everybody has to typecast somebody. How rude. How rude and how wrong to sit here. It's so messed up to be like, you run, huh? You run, huh? You must be AR5. You run really well? Well, holy hell, you're definitely AR5 because there's no way you can run for 700 yards and 20 touchdowns at the college level in one season, your very most recent season. 20 touchdowns and 700 yards in one season on the ground? You can't be a good throwing quarterback. Something's wrong with you. I'll tell you what, there's nothing wrong with this kid. And what's even more enlightening is how he carries himself, how intelligent he is, what his drive and determination looks like, how you can tell he wears this I don't know, this persona of leadership and desire to learn and humility and knowing his place. And sometimes, and I've said this before, and I'm usually always right when this happens. Sometimes you can. It's a really weird thing. I even fear saying it sometimes because I feel like it could drive somebody away. Like, this guy's he practices sorcery, but sometimes I can just tell by the way a player is built, how they carry themselves, how they run, how they throw, how they look on the field. Some players just have that factor where it's like, they have the it factor. You can see it. They're playing the part. They are the role. They are the player. They have everything about their build and structure. And while that sounds really weird to say, oh, you can tell by looking at a player's structure, their physical structure, their the way that their muscles and their like everything about their entire body. And as weird as that is, look at like Bijan, for example. Look at players like LaDainian Tomlinson. Look at players like even Jalen Hurts. You can tell these are players that are built to play the position. They just have all of the attributes, the muscle structure, everything. And this kid carries himself that way. I have so many gut instincts on this situation, screaming. I have a lot of rookies that my gut is screaming about. And some might say, Smitty, you're not even a statistical guy. You're all just bold prediction, gut instinct. That's not true. I bring a lot of statistics to the table. But one thing I do more than anything, better than I think anybody else, is the gut instinct part of this game. And what stats do for me is confirm my gut instincts. I don't find statistical anomalies and then like them and talk myself into them and go, yeah, they're pretty good. I like players based on my visual, based on what I see, period. Then I allow stats to sort out some of the things that might need sorting out. Tell me to back off and hit the gas pedal or brake depending on what the stats are saying. How many years in college have they played? How old are they? What system did they play in? There's a lot of information that could help cipher and sift around and organize the players that I feel are good here, and I rank them. But I think what makes this channel better than every other channel out there is that we don't go off just statistics. Statistics can kick rocks. We don't. They're helpful. They're an accoutrement. They're an accessory. They're something that helps us identify the difference when all things are equal. They are definitely good predictors in so many ways, and I use statistics all the time, so understand what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, this is football. This isn't fantasy baseball. This is football. This isn't fantasy basketball, where you have an enormous amount of games to get a statistical average, and you can win fantasy baseball year after year after year. You can become one of the best fantasy baseball players, and basketball, but even more so baseball, and never watch a game. You can become the best fantasy football analyst in the business. Best fantasy baseball analyst in the business and never watch a game. Never. You don't ever have to watch a game and you could be the best, because all it is statistics. Football, you can literally do nothing for 7 straight weeks and come out and be the best running back in the league the rest of the season. Look at Chase Brown. Chase Brown was on the field. It wasn't like Chase Brown was waiting. They opened the gates and we knew he was going to be, we did know he was going to be good, but in terms of any player, knowing a player is going to be elite, Chase Brown was on the field. He was on the field not producing what he ended up producing once he was fully unlocked. But this is fantasy football. This is more gut instinct than anything. And that is why I think we do as well as we do. That's why I think we attract the people we attract. That's why I think we're the most aggressive channel you can find in fantasy football, period. There's just nobody that competes with the way we approach things, because we're bold. Because we're bold, we'll put our neck out on the line. We'll take accountability when we miss, but we land more than we miss, or we wouldn't be here, would we? We cook more than we clean. That was such a nice, speech, and then I hit the button, and we cook more than we clean.
Let him cook.
So thank you, BBQ, for the 50 gifted memberships. My prediction is this: Sam Darnold will not be hard to unseat. Sam Darnold will not be hard to replace. Sam Darnold might not even make it to week 1. What if he gets injured, or what if he just plays really badly? He unfolded like a cardboard chair. He turned into a pumpkin, and the Vikings didn't want to put his slipper back on. They didn't. They said, we thought you were a prince, but now we believe you're a pumpkin. And they just took the slipper and threw it over to the Seattle Seahawks. This feels a lot like Penix Jr. and Kirk Cousins. The only difference is, I believe the Seattle Seahawks, and we don't know this. This is hard. This is the part where we don't have control, right? Look at the Penix Jr. situation. How right were we on Penix Jr.?
Let him cook.
How right were we on Penix Jr.? How long did it take him to execute on the plan? A lot longer than we wanted. We only got, the 3 games, essentially, of different production. The two games. And it looked beautiful. Drake London, the best, red zone wide receiver in the league when Penix Jr.'s in there. Like Bijan Robinson, best running back in the league when Penix Jr.'s in there. Why do you think that is? Dual threat. Dynamic quarterback. A threat that maybe Bijan doesn't get all the carries at the goal line like defenses would say when they had Kirk Cousins in there. Oh, Kirk Cousins, 5 straight games without a passing touchdown. It's like, wonder what they're doing on the 5-yard line. Oh, they're going to hand it to Bijan, who gets stuffed. Why did he get stuffed? Not because he's not good, because he faced 45-man fronts. Now Bijan isn't facing 8-man front after 8-man front, because Penix Jr. can not only run Even though people think he's not a running quarterback, he was trying to protect himself in college to get to the big show. He didn't want to get hurt again. But now that he's there, he's going to run. Pylon kisses. He's going to be all over the place. But Bijan had back to back to back. That's 3 for those of you counting. Back to back to back. 2 touchdown rushing games to end the year. London, one of the best receivers in the league to end the year with Penix Jr. So backtracking to what I'm trying to say is we were right on that. And I don't want to hear it. Some caller called in yesterday and tried to tell me I was wrong on Penix Jr. Like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Where were you? Where were you? He's like, you got it wrong with Scott Hansen. I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, it wasn't enough to get Scott Hansen to come back, but we were right. I told Scott Hansen he'd be a top 10 quarterback, and he'd play like that during the year. He said, not this year. I said this year. And anyway, he'll be back here in the offseason to talk about it. It's going to be a fun little conversation. And he might give way more credit than we're thinking. But this guy right here is a super flex gold mine. This guy right here is a dynasty must grab. This guy right here has the potential to be the next Jalen Hurts. In fact, if anybody can be the next Jalen Hurts, it is Jaylen Milroe. Jalen Hurts meet Jaylen Milroe. It's time to cook, ladies and gentlemen.
Mashed potatoes!
You can be on this train if you want. This is definitely a bumpy ride. This is definitely a train where the tickets are even half price because no one else wants to ride it. You can ride in the caboose. You can ride on top of the train. You can hang off the side. This is a wild ride. This is not an organized, civilized train. This is a train full of a bunch of people coming on and off. They're jumping on and off the train. But I'm going to be on it the entire time. And if it crashes, it crashes. This is not something I'm going to even feel bad about. This is something I feel down deep in my bones and my core that this guy is going to be something special. I called Russell Wilson. I called Patrick Mahomes. Russell Wilson in his heyday. Patrick Mahomes, when Patrick Mahomes was doubted by so many people, just don't even try and act like there wasn't a time. There was a time, believe me. Even the Chiefs fans will tell you when he was drafted, it was a ridiculous pick. I was on Mahomes before anybody. I was on Josh Allen before he took a snap in the National Football League and remained on the train while he came out of his rookie year and was called nothing more than a running gadget quarterback. He'll never be accurate. I was on Jalen Hurts, pushing him in the 6th, 7th round, saying he will win leagues, and people are absolutely out of their mind to miss that. And JD5. Have we missed some along the way? Of course we have. You can't be 100% on anything. But we smash breakout quarterbacks. We do it live. We smash running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends as well. But this feels like the deepest call I could find. So there's a lot of risk involved. Don't sell the farm for it. Don't draft him to be your backup quarterback. You can't afford to do that. Redraft is tricky and almost something you can't even. It's almost like the Croskey-Merritt. You got to monitor the situation in redraft. You just got to be on your toes about it. You're gonna go grab him if he becomes a starter, but you can't draft him in a you're holding 2 QBs and starting 1. But in Superflex, you can. In Superflex redraft or Superflex dynasty, this can be your 3rd quarterback. There's no shame in having a guy not in the lineup, but when he gets in, he explodes. This is such a fun call to me that I would have Milroe and really go rogue at my Superflex in hopes that this works out. In some of the best ball drafts, I'll do that, and when the 2 QB open up. Yeah, so sleepers galore. And then we got to talk about Bo Nix, who is like the biggest name sleeper that we're mentioning. And I don't want to hear that he's not a sleeper because he's a well-known player. Like, if that's how you want to define sleeper, go to the Mickey Mouse show down the street, because I've been doing this longer than anybody. And you can either go to the Mickey Mouse channel down the street, or you can stay here and have some good conversation. Where's my Bo Nix graphic? I swear I lose these things. Something happens to him. Where's my Bo Nix graphic? Damn it! Where are you, Bo? Well, I guess we're gonna have to put up a little bit of text. He's so good I don't have a picture. Bo Nix is he is a sleeper. He is a sleeper. I don't care what you say. I don't care what anybody says. You wanna argue with me about the term sleeper? Let me throw this at you. A second rounder can be a sleeper. You heard me. You heard me. People sleeping on any player can make them a sleeper. Throw a descriptive term next to it. Throw an adjective next to it, and you can describe sleeper any way you want. How about this? How about a middle round sleeper? How about a second round sleeper? How about a first round sleeper? I can define sleeper however the hell I want, and I've been doing it for 23 plus years professionally. I don't need your permission. And Bo Nix is a sleeper. Bo Nix is a sleeper, and Bo Nix is going to drop loads in 2025. Bo Nix could be 5'6", 5'7" quarterback material. Bo Nix can literally be your number one quarterback in a situation where I almost always draft an earlier quarterback, but when I get sniped and I don't have the right draft pick and I don't want to let Harvey slip past me in the 6 range, and then Debo's sitting there and I take and then before you know it, Mahomes is gone, who goes in 6-7. There's some ways where I wait on Mahomes and then Mahomes gets snagged. This is the next guy up. I'm drafting Bo Nix every single time, and I'll pair him with Dak Prescott in 1 QB leagues. In Superflex, I love both. Bo Nix is a rising star. You know who else is going to be a rising star? This Broncos team is going to potentially take a good hard stab at the division. I think the Chiefs win the division, but the Broncos will be the number 1 wild card spot in the AFC, and they'll be so good that I think they could potentially win any of the other 3 divisions. They'll just end up being second in their division against the Chiefs. But if anybody's going to knock the Chiefs off and the Chiefs have to get in through a wild card spot, injuries could happen, anything could happen. I think it's the Denver Broncos. I think the Denver Broncos are the surprise team of the AFC. It starts with Nix. It ends with Harvey. They've got a lot of other talent. They've got their Joker potential role in Harvey mixed with Evan Ingram, who I think will have a phenomenal year. The Broncos are gonna ball, and Harvey's gonna ball. Nix is gonna have a phenomenal season. I love Bo Nix. Dial into the show. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Bo Nix is going to feed everyone. Harvey's going to catch footballs, 350 receiving yards, let's call it, 2 receiving touchdowns, 40 receptions, 1,200, 1,300 rushing for Harvey, 12 touchdowns on the ground, maybe let's call it 13 to 14 total touchdowns for Harvey. Harvey's going to cook.
Let him cook.
Harvey is going to mother freaking cook. Let it rip, cook. Nix is going to cook. Everyone's cooking for the Denver Broncos. Absolutely excited. All right, hit me on the phone line. Dial in. I've got the speaker ready because I think we got some audio issues still. So we'll be ready to go this time. Dial in. I'm trying to see if I'm on the clock in any drafts. If you want to draft with us tonight, make sure you get on over to Underdog, promo code Smitty. Underdog, promo code Smitty. I'll drop the link in the live chat. Here's the link right here. Smash that link. Get signed up in advance. up to $1,000 in bonus credit into your account by depositing. So make sure you get on that now so that when we go draft tonight, you're not scrambling to try and get in. Hit the link, sign up now, you'll be ready to go. Caller on the phone line, you're from the 925. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, Smitty, I'm Sean from Idaho.
What's up, Sean? What can I do for you?
When do you think Milroe, because you're saying that he's going to start the season, but when do you think that?
I think it could probably. Sorry, let me merge that caller. Okay, I got both of you on here. New caller, just hang tight. Milroe, when do I think Milroe could start? I mean, like I just explained. I mean, I just went through about 5 minutes of answering that. Maybe you missed it, but I just said that, like, look, Penix Jr. should have started. He should have started earlier. I can't control that aspect. All I know is we smashed the hell out of that prediction. It just unfortunately was not executed upon as quickly as we would have executed it. And it's kind of a disappointing thing, but it's also very refreshing to see Penix Jr. do what we predicted he would do. This is the exact same scenario in my mind. You got a quarterback that is, not necessarily, I believe, proven long-term. Well, actually, Cousins was, but like they're both questionable. One is getting older and had injuries. The other one is still young, but has major questions of busting. And so it's very similar, even though there's some different circumstances that causes their doubt or their potential, paper tiger value. But at the end of the day, I do believe, at least I'm hopeful, and there's no logic or rhyme or reason to this. We're just at the mercy of what Seattle does. But I tend to believe that Darnold will get cooked a little quicker than I think the Cousins unfolding happened. I think the Cousins unfolding was clear. Penix Jr. should have went in 5 weeks earlier, but he didn't. Is what it is. I can't control that. I can't control that. But I do believe Seattle is going to make a quick move. I can't guarantee it, but I think they'll make a quick move if Darnold does look like he looked at the end of the year. Keep in mind, his confidence is a little bit rattled. Not only these are two very, very bad red flags and bad pieces of anti-momentum for Darnold. He's not only coming out with shattered confidence in terms of his play because he unfolded. He's coming out with shattered confidence about himself because his team didn't keep him. The same team that lifted him up on their shoulders and supported him turn their backs on him. And if he was so good like he was in a few moments in a big part of the year, they would have said, I don't care if McCarthy is a guy we drafted. Darnold's balling the hell out. We're signing him to a long-term deal. They didn't do that. They were contemplating it, and they clearly decided you're not good enough is what that feels like. So he's got two confidence, lack of confidence type situations brewing. And I think that Milroe is going to just walk right in, bro, and impress, and everyone's going to want him. The fan base, if you go into any sort of Milroe post anywhere, you'll see Seattle Seahawks fans.
I am a Seahawks.
Okay, yeah. Can you honestly say that when you're in some sort of comment section or watching fans interact, the thing you hear is put them in already. I already love him. It's like I can't wait.
Yeah, I think there's a feeling amongst a lot of fans. I'm personally more of I wouldn't hate them doing the Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts thing where he sits for a year, because I do think he struggles with some of his mechanics and progression stuff, but I am a fan of him in terms of long-term potential.
Bro, who
I think there's no...
Who doesn't struggle with their mechanics before they've taken an NFL snap? You know what I mean? Like Bo Nix struggled.
Yeah, I mean, I think all these guys have to work on.
Yeah. But I don't think sitting in the NFL is good anymore. I don't think it's beneficial. It used to be, and anybody that says what you just said, they use a long time example, bro. Like Jordan Love was drafted so long ago. It's not the way it is anymore.
That's still pretty close to modern. He just started. First year was what, 2024?
Bro, he was drafted.
2023.
Bro, he sat forever. He was
drafted. I know he was drafted
right.
in 2020.
Okay, so you can't use when he started first as your starting point. We're talking about when he was drafted. He's been in the league how many years now?
Yeah.
How many years?
It's gonna be 6.
Okay, so he was drafted 6 years ago when AI wasn't even around. I'm just trying. There's a lot has happened. And when you got drafted in the Jordan Love era, which was almost a decade ago, practically, it was a time frame where the college game didn't translate right away. If you get drafted, I'm not saying you can't develop from the bench. I'm just saying that it doesn't do Milroe any good to sit him. I promise you. It's the NFL game translates so well now. The best thing to do is if you believe in the player, you put them in as a rookie. They learn on the job. He's going through a bunch of virtual reality scenarios like JD5 did to get himself even more prepared. But I promise you, he's not going to learn on the bench better than he will in the lineup. I promise you, the game is too different than it used to be. It's a very old mentality. That's grandpa and dad's NFL. when people say, oh, or when people say that a receiver is going to break out their third year. They don't. They break out their rookie year. If there's some sort of outlier situation like in MHJ's case, I think it could happen their second year. But there's no more third-year breakout wide receiver. It's year one, really, or potentially year two, based on volume, like in JSN's case. There's certain scenarios. But quarterbacks, not saying they can't do well in 2 or 3 years, not saying they can't sit on the bench and take someone's job. Like, those are different scenarios. But to sit J.J. McCarthy, let's say another year, like some people were wanting to do, and bring in Sam Darnold again for one more year, or draft or bring in Aaron Rodgers, this is all not good. You don't want a quarterback sitting. Yeah. You just don't. There's no reason that the Saints should sit Shuck. There's, if they believe in him, I don't think he's going to be good. I think you're going to find out real quick. You definitely don't sit a.
Though, just because the capital.
The Niners took Trey Lance to the top 3, right? And they didn't start him. That was a huge mistake. Like, he should have been. This is Jimmy Garoppolo that held him off. Like, this is what ruined Trey Lance. I'm not saying Trey Lance wouldn't have eventually busted. I'm not saying he wouldn't. Like, he could have succeeded. Shanahan ruined him, and then he got hurt, and then he ended up busting. But there was a moment in time where Trey Lance was better as a rookie than he was any other time. The rookie quarterbacks can thrive, bro. JD5 thrived, Bo Nix thrived. Every rookie quarterback but Caleb thrived last year. So it's not one of those things where it takes time anymore, bro. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I would be for him starting if he's legitimately better than Darnold. But I am, I guess, more like higher on Darnold than you are. I think that's what their offense is going to do. He's good on play action and stuff like that. But I think that's why I did ultimately Milroe.
I know, but you sound a little more cautious than I am, and that's fine. It doesn't mean you're wrong or anything. It just, I'm not a cautious Caleb at all. I'd like just throw him out there. Yeah, let's roll.
I would be excited if Milroe started. I think it would be interesting. But
I have a feeling, and again,
I do like Darnold.
Again, this is not ripping on you on any level. But you're the kind of guy, like, I could literally offer you a trade, and you're like, oh, well, when I get home from work, I'll look at it all and I'll break it down. And I'm like, dude, do the deal now. It's lunch break. What are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
Let me go compile all the data when I get home, and I'll get back to you tomorrow. That's you, bro.
No, that's probably fair.
Yeah, it is fair. You work in quality control, don't you? Some sort of quality assurance, some sort of checkpoint, don't you?
I like numbers, yeah.
All right. I appreciate you, bro. I'm not ripping on you. We're different people. We come from different claws. All right, later, bro.
I agree. Real quick, one last point. I agree with your point. I think I am, like, high on Milroe in terms of his, like, long-term outlook. Like, I think I'm picking him up a lot in dynasty leagues and stuff like that, and I think that's, like, the best place to get him right now.
Well, I say get him in Superflex. He's ready. All right, later, bro.
Yeah.
All right, Bruce, you're live.
Hey, Smitty, I got a question on Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Now, if you go down in, like, the 6th, 7th round and you get Nix because you get robbed of everyone else, like
motion detected at the
Mahomes and all that. Now, how would you feel about teaming him with McCarthy as the second one instead of like Dak and all that?
No, I don't like McCarthy this year. My boy Sick Nasty's probably in the chat. Like, he doesn't even let it bother him anymore. But I don't want to play around with a McCarthy when I could get a Kyler or a Dak or somebody of that caliber, a Penix Jr. Those are all better options than McCarthy. Not that McCarthy can't prove me wrong, but he's struggling to get the support verbally and publicly from his own team, and that bothers me. And I do think that he's got upside, but he's also been a very system quarterback, and to me, he never came out of college with a lot of excitement or promise to, nothing's changed for me. I didn't see a gunslinger. I saw a guy that was very good. I see a guy that could probably win games. I see a guy that you put him in and LAC with his former coach Harbaugh, and he probably does pretty good. He probably plays a lot like I don't know, like Brock Purdy in a way, you know, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with, but we're talking fantasy football. You know, we're not talking about winning a game or being a winner from college, or if he was in the right spot. And Minnesota could be that spot. They're obviously a great offense that turned Darnold into a champion. But I just don't think McCarthy's going to be somebody I want to start on any sort of level when there's guys like Kyler and Penix Jr. and those are just the guys that I want. But I do love Nix as a quarterback. If you take a gamble on Mahomes being the guy you're waiting on and he gets sniped, and then it's like Bo Nix season, baby. Do it live.
And one question about that. What position would you punt the most?
Punt,
where you said, you know what, now I got to grab somebody.
Best player available, Bruce. It's going to come down to what the board shows me. There's no punting positions or punting players. You draft players, not positions, and you punt players, not positions. So there's no way to answer that.
Okay.
All right, my boy. Appreciate you. Call back if you got another one.
Yep.
Later. All right, so let me get these super chats here. We got the Dynasty Trade JSN. What is this? JSN and 4.3 or Hunter in a 26 late second. Give me Travis Hunter over JSN, but it's close and arguable, and I love JSN. And I've talked about JSN being 4 to 7 this year at wide receiver, but I just think that Hunter is a guy I want so badly, and obviously he could be at that same level of output and talent and upside. How great would he have been on the Jets? Sad we didn't take him. Are you talking about Milroe? He'd have been the perfect backup for a first-run offense. Yeah, I mean, Jake, I'd rather him be in Seattle because he starts quicker. You know, I don't want him supplanting Fields. I want Fields in the lineup. So I disagree with you, but I understand from a Jets fan, he'd be a fantastic security blanket. And you got a guy that can run, and it fits the system. You're 100% the most aggressive channel on your gut. It has helped me more than it has effed me over. You stake your claim early. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate you. $20 holler from BBQ, dropping a wad on the screen. My boy BBQ doing it live.
Alert. Super chat alert.
It's my boy coming in strong. Says following the other content creators is hazardous to your fantasy football success. Smitty has been laying down a marker, offering insight and advice based upon years of experience, making the calls that others are afraid to make. Says BBQ. BBQ, thank you for the $20 holler, my boy. Thank you to all my super chatters so far. And BBQ, thank you for the $20 super chat. If you need advice, let me know. Any $20 holler that requests Scatman services, you will get advice from Scatman himself. All right, phone line's open. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. On the clock in a few of these underdog drafts. We'll be coming back to draft tonight. I'm on the clock in an underdog draft right now. My team is as follows. This team is pretty damn good so far, I must say. Looking at it, it's fantastic. I've got Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. I've got Bucky, Hampton, and Harvey. I've got Malik Neighbors and Xavier Worthy. And now I'm on the clock, and I see that Monty is there. You guys can help me make this pick. So again, my team is Mahomes, Bucky, Hampton, Harvey. I could start all three. Harvey's my flex. Neighbors, Worthy. Need another wide receiver, need a tight end, but I can, I don't always draft the receiver yet. I might go RB. I might go tight end. Top players available are Monty, Shakir, Brandon Ayuk, Burden, Cooper Kupp, Egbuka. I like Egbuka here. Kyler Murray, Pacheco, Tyrone Tracy, Jonu, Bo Nix, Scataboo, and Kelsey. And my next pick is about, I would say, roughly like 10 picks, 9 picks after. So I might be able to get Kelsey. Kelsey's ADP is looking like it is pick number. He's the third tight end available, pick 100. And so if I pick here, I'll be picking at 90. So I could easily get Kelsey with my next pick. So I think I'll pass on Kelsey. I'll pair Worthy, Kelsey, and Mahomes together. Well, who should I grab right here? Phone lines are open. Dial in. Who should I grab right here? Egbuka? I could grab Egbuka. I like Egbuka here. Let's see. Egbuka, or I guess I would probably go Egbuka or Cooper Kupp. Let's see what you guys think here. I'm going to go Egbuka. Monty's nice, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sitting here drafting, and even though I've got 3 running backs, I need a wide receiver. I'm probably going to go Egbuka, but Monty's nice here. Let's go Egbuka. I think he's going to get in there. I think he's going to have a really, really nice rookie season, believe it or not. Yeah, Tyreek is probably cooked, bro. All right, dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Remember when Tyreek said he was going to retire, you know, at right around this age? Does anybody know if he passed the age that he said he was going to play till? He said he was going to retire at, I think, didn't he say 30 or did he say 31? Ziggy, how old is Tyreek Hill?
Tyreek Hill is 31 years old and was born on March 1st, 1994.
So he just turned. I think he should be retired based on his prediction of being retired. I think he should. Let's see here. 224. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, Smitty, Alan. How you doing?
Good. What's up, Alan? What can I do for you?
I'm calling from Chicago. I'm in a dynasty superflex league, and I have the 104 and the 105.
Is there a way you can move away from the background noise? There's like music and stuff, and it's really loud in the background. Or,
yeah, no problem.
Or ask your question, and then I'll just hang up on you and answer it. But go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I have the 104 pick and the 105 pick.
Okay.
In the rookie draft for my dynasty league. It's the superflex tight end premium. I'm struggling a little bit at wide receiver. I only have Garrett Wilson and Puka. Those are my 2 main, and I really don't have a third. That's reasonable because it's Tank Dell. It's probably the next best receiver. Do you think I should trade up or trade back? Or who do you think I should target potentially in the draft? Or should I just trade the draft picks for established receivers like JSN or Drake London?
Well, do you think Hunter falls to 1.4?
Possibly, yeah. I think it's possible, yeah. I think the guy with the 101 and the 102, I think is going running back.
Okay, so I would probably take Hunter and Harvey, and I'd feel excited about that. I would love that combo for you. Harvey will be there at 1.5, almost guarantee it.
Yeah,
but that's
Harvey will be there.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I would be dreaming of this scenario. And if Harvey's not there, then Hendy, whichever one's there. But Harvey or Hendy would be fantastic. Now grab Milroe in round 2 or 3, depending on where you think you can get him. He's sometimes there in 3. Most of the time he's there in 3, but in Superflex, I could see him going at like the mid-second. But I wouldn't be afraid to take him at 2.3 or 4 just to get my guy. Whenever I get past like the 2-1, 2-3, 2-4, really 2-5, I guess, I'll reach on anybody. There's no more reaching at that point, in my opinion. Because what happens is a lot of people don't know what they're doing after they get through about the first 12 to 15 rookies. And then you have people just grabbing players. Even though there's a suggested rank that usually guides people, you'll still see some wild, players, just going straight into the tight ends and grabbing one that's not even close to being ranked. And then once that starts happening, Fannin, go get Fannin as well if you need a tight end.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate this.
Yeah, don't sleep on Fannin in the tight end premium, bro. And don't sleep on Milroe either. But I think those guys are so good that I'm willing to say screw Ward or whatever. Give me Hunter, give me Harvey, give me Milroe and Fannin later. All right, later, bro.
Yeah, and I don't really need a quarterback, so I'm passing on Ward for sure because I have Josh Allen, 25, and Jordan Love on the bench.
Pass on Ward, but don't pass on Milroe still because that gives you tremendous trade value. All right, later, bro. All right. Yeah, he didn't really fix the background noise. Like, that better? It's like, does the Rams drafting Jarquez Hunter affect Corum as a cuff or Kyron's punt return duties more? Who's Corum? Is Corum the guy getting coffee for Jarquez Hunter? I mean, of course, Jarquez Hunter. As we talked before several times, Jarquez Hunter gets his coffee delivered by Corum. He told Corum, "I'm taking your mom out, and I'm not bringing her home until after midnight." And Corum said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Get out of my seat." And for anybody that hasn't seen, I mean, the cuff board already has Jarquez Hunter with Kyron. It's not Corum. Corum is no longer in the picture. Even if Corum started the season as the backup, let's say Jarquez Hunter was the third string running back in week 1. I still don't care because by the time you statistically probably need a potential backup for Kyron, some games have been played and Hunter will have overtaken him by then. In certain formats, I would say like practice squad, like spots, I would want all three. I'm not going to lie. If I could take Hunter right now in leagues where I own Corum and Kyron, and a lot of leagues I do, I would not cut Corum. I'd just, figure out a way to hold all of them until as long as I could. If that meant not having a kicker until week 1, I would do that. I'd do a lot of things to make sure I didn't just surrender Corum in case it goes awry. I mean, Hunter could get hurt, so definitely, but yeah, Jarquez Hunter is the much better running back than Blake. Blake Corum, I never liked Blake Corum. I didn't understand Blake Corum. Remember how many people are at Blake Corum's a baller, bro. He's a baller. It's like I didn't like him at all. Not even before they drafted him onto the Rams roster, I didn't like him. And you're almost ridiculed for not liking him. And I just think I never did. I never thought he was that good. He's too small. He was really good in college, but so was Johnny Manziel. So was Tim Tebow. All right, Travis, you're live. Thank you, BBQ. What up?
I think it's really good at getting players right times that they end up being. I'm not saying all Michigan players are bad.
For sure.
Well, getting guys that fit that system.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with Kyron's contract either. Like, I do think that they want to extend him. I think that they could do that in the coming off season. There's zero chance that McVay is off the Kyron train. If anybody thinks that's the case, by any means, it's not. There's a really good chance he gets an extension this off season still. And if that doesn't happen, I'm not afraid of it. But I think if Kyron doesn't get his extension, you can bet you can bet your bottom dollar that he's going to go out, this year and explode because he's trying to earn his next contract, his last contract. I mean, running backs have that small window of time where they can get that second deal, and Kyron's in that mode right now. This is going to be either an extension or Kyron going for a money grab. So either way, it's great. The extension makes you feel comfortable and cozy because he ain't going anywhere, right? They're paying him, baller dollars. But no extension, he's going to go out and try and earn his keep. Otherwise, he won't. So otherwise he won't get paid. So this is the year of Kyron, for sure. And just make sure you back him up. Right here, we got one super chat real quickly. Is the drop off from elite wide receiver to wide receiver 2 bigger than the drop off of elite running back to running back 2? It depends on the I don't think so, because I think there's so many hidden gem players at all positions. I think the running back drop off is not as big because we have Kyron and Hall and Scataboo and Harvey and Henderson and those guys hiding throughout the entire 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th rounds that you can always find an elite potential top 10 running back. So I guess I would say that the drop off at running back is less And honestly, those are potential running back ones. Like Harvey's a potential low-end running back one. Whereas wide receiver, it's not so much there's a drop-off, it's just they dry up quicker because people are consuming wide receivers. So I guess that answers your question. Yeah, you're going to see Hall and Kyron and Harvey and Hampton all out in the third, Harvey in the sixth, and you're not going to see any top 12 wide receivers there. So yeah, they're not, I mean, it's not really close comparison, but I think, like, do I feel like the quality of the wide receivers drop off? There are some spread out players too, like Debo, I think goes way too late. DK goes way too late. So I think that it's a hard question to answer. It just depends. Like Mahomes is potentially the number 1 or number 2 or number 3 quarterback any given year, regardless of what the Mickey Mouse channel will tell you about Mahomes, that he hasn't done anything for 2 years, he'll never return. Whatever. I don't care about any of that. So there are players everywhere. Laporta could be the number 1 tight end. He's going around 4 or 5. So every position has some outliers and some hidden gems for the 2025 season. But I would say running back is the deepest. That's why going 0 RB or hero RB is a pretty damn good strategy this year. Even though you don't force it, best player available will almost certainly allow you to go down that road at some point with a lot of your teams. And boy, could you scoop up Hampton and Harvey and Scataboo and have just those rookie running backs. Those three running backs alone, then grab Charbonnet, and you could go literally 0 RB through that point. Go ahead, Travis.
Like a lot of depth at wide receiver when you get into like the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. Like super a lot range too, like wide receiver 3 decent. But in terms of elite guys, 5 or 6 drops off of them. Ridiculous. With looking at you with Todd Brooks though, is he going to be a must-have, or is he kind of a wait and see? Or I think he takes a Track Moss spot pretty quick.
Yeah, I don't mind him. Yeah, I don't mind Brooks at all. Someone's got to be cuffed to Chase Brown, so I think it's such a good situation that, like, whoever it was, I'd kind of have my eyes on him, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. A lot of Tootin getting dropped in the chat tonight, and yeah, Tootin's he's a cuff too, though. I mean, Bigsby certainly earned what I think is coming to him. And he's one of the most productive running backs in the league when you look at specific stats and categories per touch. Bigsby's top 5 in some crazy, transferable from, trying to predict what players excel at the next level when they're given full-time work. And Bigsby's just ripe and ready to go. But Tootin is really, really good. And if Bigsby got hurt, and if Etienne's used as the Rashad White in Liam Cohen's offense, and he comes from Tampa where he created the Rashad White-Bucky duo last year, I do think you cuff Bigsby to Tootin, not cuffing anything to Etienne necessarily at this point. Pre-NFL draft, I was all about cuffing the two together. But right now, and I like Etienne, and I wouldn't object to grabbing all 3 in a weird league where you had depth to do it, because they all cost like pennies on the dollar. Like, it's not like you're taking one of them around 4, one of them around 7, and one of them around 8. You're literally taking, because of the drafting of Tootin, it really bumped Bigsby and Etienne down even further. And because Bigsby and Etienne are there, Tootin's not as an attractive of a rookie as a lot of people wanted him to be, even though there's still a lot of believers. So you can literally grab all 3, and you know that one of them is going to ball, at all times. You'll have one potential, maybe even elite running back 2 all year, just by grabbing those 3 guys. Go ahead, Travis. Sorry.
No, that's fine. BBQ.
Tootin. Hopefully we're Tootin. I wanted Washington to grab Tootin. Are you going to show where you cover the wide receiver cuffs and the value offered at ADP? Like Puka going round 1, Adams going to the moon if he gets hurt. Yeah, I mean, I could put something together for that. I mean, there's not a lot of wide receiver cuffs out there, but I get what you're trying to say. Like the implications of a changing situation. I think we were going to do something like that. It's what I planned for at BBQ, ironically, and you always have a good mind for predicting what some of the things I'm going to do. I even told Travis about this, but what I think what I'm going to maybe do is create some sort of like situational upside meter where we could say, okay, what is the upside of of this player, and let's call it George Pickens. Not a lot, like where we project him to be. I don't know that there's a big ceiling above that where he could just go up like big time a couple rounds. But you look at someone like Scataboo, at his cost of entry, he's got one of the biggest ceilings you could find, because he could literally climb into low end running back 1 value, or at least high end running back 2 value. So that would be a guy like Tootin. Tootin would have literally the entire draft to climb. You're talking about double-digit rounds up to wherever he climbs to. So that ceiling value meter, I think, is more so better for what you're describing, because there's no real way to. There's not enough receiver situations like this. I think every player deserves to be looked at like that. So in the case of you say, hey, Smitty, put Adams on the upside meter chart or whatever, and we'll put Adams on there, and I'll tell you how much I think he can explode from his cost of entry or current trade value. So like, yeah, Puka went down, Adams would significantly go up, so there's potential there. Another example would be Bigsby or whatever. Another example of somebody that doesn't have a ton of that value would be, someone like I don't know.
Like off, like the perfect situation,
Yeah.
Puka and McMillan.
Yeah.
Like Adams obviously would explode, but the chances you might draft both of them might be slim. You may not initially take both of them.
Yeah. It gets tricky with the cuffing of wide receivers, because at the end of the day, the way you want to do it is if you got, not screwed because you have a plan of attack, but let's say you build heavy RB, quarterback, tight end, and you build really cheaply at wide receiver. I've done a lot of things where when I have Jamar Chase, I'll take Yoshi Voss, and then I have I feel very protected there. That's some really good, almost like a sidecar cuff in a way. I think we've called it in the past.
You would trade.
Yeah. The 49ers situation where you're going to get Jaylen Royals, and you grab Royals and you put him next to Rice, or you put him next to Worthy. That's a fantastic cuff. There are some cuffs, but they're rare in a sense. I would say, looking around, I mean, some would say Tesla would be somebody you would look at, but I don't. I mean, yeah, sure. If you got Amon-Ra St. Brown and J-Mo and you want Tesla, that would make sense. Guys like I'm even just glancing around the NFL, and I'm trying to find an example of a wide receiver cuff that I really think is sneaky, and there's just so few of them. I would say, in some respects, I've been in best ball drafting A.O. Minor, the receiver in Tennessee, and then grabbing Restrepo. But that's where I'm in dire straits, because I think between one of those guys, they'll be very good in Tennessee, considering. I think Houston, you could grab Noel and cuff him to Jaden Higgins. That would be a good example. And then past that, I mean, we really start running out of those opportunities. But cuffing wide receivers is interesting, but it really isn't something I would target. It's something that you fall into where you're like, damn, I got kind of screwed at receiver. Yoshi Voss is really good because I already have Jamar Chase, and I feel like that's going to give me such, security, because I'm already thin at wide receiver, but to have a Bengal wide receiver, no matter what happens to Chase, then I feel pretty good about it. That's what I would probably say. But Jaylen Royals makes a lot of sense. From probably one of my favorite situations like that is Jaylen Royals. You put him, you cuff him to Rice or to Worthy, and you're golden.
A lot of situations like or even like Jefferson, where they're going to probably be flex-worthy type players anyways. So there's not a lot of guys where they're sitting on your bench except for the UFC boss and stuff like that.
Yeah. And yeah. So you got to have the unique situation where I would say like Noah Gray with Travis Kelce makes a ton of sense in best ball as your third tight end with, your number one Kelce tight end. And then your second one could be a little bit riskier because that if Kelce gets hurt, Noah Gray goes off. So it's a good cuff. And let's say you go really light at wide receiver and you got Jalen Royals with Rashee Rice. Well, now you're or Buko with Mike Evans or whatever. That no matter what, you have one wide receiver there, and you can't really say that about the rest of your draft. Like I'm almost okay with that than trying to take a stab in the dark and just get this extra player that might stand alone. But then there's other situations where instead of getting Blake Corum, I'd rather go get a player like Croskey-Merritt, just to have somebody that can do it by themselves and not have to have an injury, in that situation. Super chat real quickly. BBQ says, are you going to do a show where, is that the one I just read? I think that's the one I just read. Going to do a show. Yeah, that's it. All right, let me get Bruce back in here real quick, Travis. What's going on, Brucey? You're live.
Hey, Smitty.
You're up.
I got a question for you.
All right.
If Hill does leave, would you put Waddle? Would you up him in ADP or would you down him?
He definitely goes up if Hill's gone, but at the same time, I don't know if he goes up as high as, for other people. Being the number one wide receiver there has got his advantages, but he will be, double teamed. And I don't know that it's the best situation no matter what. But I don't know. I have a feeling I would like him a little more, but that's if his ADP stayed the same. And I don't think it will. So there's a world where I like him less. Yes, that's possible. But I would like him more initially on my own rankings, if that makes sense. Like as soon as Tyreek Hill left, I'd rise him up like 4 or 5 spots probably, but then everybody would lift him up, 4, 5, 6 more, and then I'd be the same amount out, if not more. I'm like, never mind. I like him more, but damn, you boys are crazy. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. When we started talking, then I was looking in the chat and it kept coming up. I'm like,
no problem.
Hill, I'm going to ask us.
Yeah, I could understand it. And I could change my mind. You know what I mean? I could change my mind. If I feel like Bobby Slowick who's now the quarterback coordinator in Miami, who came from Houston, and he was a scapegoat. And I think this, why I hate Houston so much this year? Hate's a strong word, but do you know why I'm predicting so much bust out of CJ Stroud, so much bust out of Houston Texans, who look so promising? Because of the Bobby Slowick firing. I think to fire a man that helped to get you where you were and turn this team into a really good team, to fire Bobby Slowick, who could have got any head coaching job he wanted. He was as popular as Ben Johnson, but he just decided to stay, like Kingsbury decided to stay one more year. The equivalent would be Kingsbury could have got any job he wanted. He decided to stay, but let's say Kingsbury gets fired next year. That's what Bobby Slowick was. And that you give up on him after 1 year when he did such amazing things. That's like a perfect employee that sleeps in once and you fire him. Like it didn't make any sense. And now they have a horrible, one of the worst offensive lines in the league from all accounts that from what I can gather until we watch it play. Coach it up, sure, but coach it up with what? Let's see what they have in store here. But I think that, just drafting wide receivers doesn't make me feel like this team's going to bounce back. Mixon falling off. We'll see what Mark says. He could be a sleeper, but I'm really, really, really not amped at all about anything that's not Nico Collins. And Nico Collins will just get a bunch of balls thrown in his direction. That's great. And that doesn't really hurt him if he's playing from behind in the third and fourth quarter every game. That could be good for him. So anything not named Nico, I'm out in Houston. I'm out on Stroud. I'm out on all of it. I don't even think I draft Stroud as a backup. I'd rather have Kyler. I'd rather have Dak. You can get Dak over Stroud every single time. You can get Penix Jr. over Stroud every single time. Yeah.
Yeah, because I seen it and I was like, you know what? Yeah.
All right, my boy.
Kind of like Marvin.
All right, my boy. Appreciate you calling tonight.
Yep.
There. Travis, any final thoughts? I'm going to jump now and come back and we'll draft tonight. And thank you for all the super chatters. Thank you, Curtis. Appreciate the kind words about Chase Brown. Since I forgot Smitty called Chase Brown. Nice man. You called him. Thank you.
I'll call back tonight.
Okay. Appreciate it. Later, Travis. Yep. See you on the Patreon. We'll be on the Patreon here. For those that don't know, the Patreon is basically my 365 24/7 live chat group. And here's the link right here. The link's in the description of the video and every video, really. And let me pin that link right now. Make sure you click the link in the description for Underdog. I'll even drop the link right now. The link pinned is for the Patreon. The link I'm dropping now is for Underdog, so you can draft tonight with us. Make sure you click the link now. Make sure you sign up now and get a jump on it, because you won't get into a draft if we're trying to get in fast and they fill really quick and you're having to sign up. So do the sign up now. It's $10 minimum. That's it. $10 minimum. Gump, go ahead. You're live.
What's up, brother?
What's up?
How we doing, Mr.
What can I do for you, Gumpy? What's up, Gump?
So, you don't like golf, huh?
Gump, are we going to do this every single day? You know I don't. You know I think golf's going to turn into a jack-o'-lantern. Maybe not a pumpkin. He'll still be a jack-o'-lantern. He'll still be carved and everything, but, he'll still have the lights on. But he's not going to be as pretty as he was without Ben Johnson, who you seem to have gripped onto as some sort of villain because he left. If Ben Johnson came back tomorrow, you'd be all over Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's amazing. We got him back. We got our OC. We got our OC back, Smitty. We're gonna ball. There's no questions anymore. You would open arms welcome Ben Johnson back, and you know it. You know it. You can, if you choose to be, but you haven't been.
I don't lie. I try to be honest with people. I was kind of happy that he was gone.
Yeah, you weren't. Gump, you can't be happy that Ben Johnson was gone. That's not truthful. That's not truthful.
I don't think he's as good as you think he was. And I think Goff is a lot better than what you think. I think Goff is trying to climb the ladder to be like Tom Brady.
To be like what? Tom Brady? Gump, come on, bro.
Finish him. Call terminated.
Yeah, not nonsense on this channel. We can only do so much nonsense. You start saying things like that, you get hung up on immediately. So tread lightly. Tread lightly. This is not a Mickey Mouse show. That's down over on the other show. This stuff, we don't let that stuff linger. We're not going to have a big conversation about that. Just waste everyone's time. I will see you all tonight. Appreciate you. Gump, why don't you try again tonight? Try again tonight, Gumpy. See you all tonight. Appreciate you.
What is that smell? Someone needs me.
Help! Help! I'm going to lose my fantasy week! Somebody help! Call the Scat Man!
I am Scatman. Who needs my help? Wow. Bang, bang, boom. To the moon. Now it's time to go pick up your mother. Mr. London, what seems to be the problem? I've been a little off. Can't seem to get things going, if you know what I mean. I think I have just the thing for you, Mr. London.
Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's what this show is right here. Live whenever big news breaks. That's an additional show. Anytime big news breaks, we go live. That's how we do it. So Dad did it. It's how America does it. And it's worked out pretty good so far. And additionally, that's right, a third potential live stream any given day. More if there's more breaking news. The third live stream potential day is the after hours graveyard shift, where we go live at midnight Eastern to live draft, which we'll be doing tonight. So get ready to tippy tap on into that live stream, doing it live. Underdog. I'll drop the link one more time. Make sure you're signed up and ready to go. It's a $10 minimum. So no big deal, right? Get in there. Get signed up ahead of time so you can tap right in when I say go. Because that's what will happen. I'll get in here and I'll go, okay, go into the app and click on this green button. Boom. And if you're not signed up, you're not getting in. So hit that link and do it live. Link's in the description of every video. In case you miss it tonight, you think tomorrow you want to do it. Where do I go again? The link is in the description of any video. See you all tonight.